I want to read a short passage from Byung-Chul Han's book, The Spirit of Hope. It just came out, and there are some really, really interesting things he's arguing. I want to briefly touch on one today about the contrast between hope and optimism. Han says, hopeful thinking is not optimistic thinking. Unlike hope, optimism lacks negativity. It knows neither doubt nor despair. Its essence is sheer positivity. Optimism is convinced that things will take a turn for the good. For optimists, the nature of time is closure. They do not know the future as an open space of possibility. Nothing occurs. Nothing surprises. The future appears available. The real future, however, is characterized by unavailability. Optimists never look into unavailable distance. They do not reckon with the unexpected or incalculable. This is page 5 of his book, The Spirit of Hope, that you'll see up here. Well, what is he actually saying there? And there's a lot that he is noting in his argument, but I want to just kind of draw out a few of the thoughts. First is optimism doesn't exactly look into the future as it could be open to anything, as it could be open to any sort of possibility. Optimism is the sheer sort of, it'll turn out good. It's, in that sense, almost irrational. It's just the assumption that all things will be fine. There's not going to be a future surprise or difficulty. But really, hope it really only makes sense by its contrary, like, let's say, despair or fear or something like that. I think more traditionally it's despair, and Han brings that out as well. But hope really only makes sense when there's a reality of suffering, of things not going as planned. Optimism is sort of this sort of happy-go-lucky point of view, which obviously has maybe some benefits for life. It's not that it's in every way terrible. But if you don't have any category for hope when things are terrible, and optimism is just essentially everything's going to be okay, you will definitely be disappointed. This is, I think, quite important for living our lives. Han actually has more to say on this, but if you have, let's say, optimism, and you're trying to optimize everything in your life as a sort of consumer, then it's also really interesting to consider that you're not really open to anything new happening. If optimism is just, I'll have money next week and the week after, it's all going to turn out okay without a lot of thought. You're not really thinking about the future, something that's completely different, completely new, completely other to you. You can never really be surprised. And that's why a lot of optimistic thinking is really centered on calculation. Okay, it's going to be the same tomorrow, the same the next day. Everything is going to be A-okay. Nothing bad will happen. Nothing new will happen. Nothing changing will happen. It's a sort of attitude, usually, obviously there can be exceptions, but usually it's an attitude of calculation that is more at home in our technological society that aims to optimize, transform, improve ourselves. And it really doesn't make sense when time is unavailable to us. Time is beyond our grasp. Time is a surprise. Time includes something that we could never have expected. All that to say is that hope is something that is more deep and real because it makes sense of suffering and what we often call random chance, where optimism as an attitude is not expecting suffering or despair, at least how it's typically talked about. And that means we're constantly at the level of the same today and tomorrow, constantly calculating, never really expecting something is going to come that is so outside of our experience that it doesn't really even fit our expectations. It's a really brief thought, but I wanted to share it. And I might share a few as I'm reading through this. But another effect of this video is I want to note that I'm going to probably spend a long time talking about the works of Byung-Chul Han. He is my favorite living author, or philosopher rather. And I have been a Han Maxer for a while, and I think I'm going to finish reading his works as much as I can and create a sort of, we might say, a long essay series that I'll both put on my Substack and also record here in different ways. Obviously, the verbal form is different than the written. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. Find me on my Substack, which is just wyattgraham.com. And you will, I guess, be expecting more Byung-Chul Han. There'll be breaks, obviously I'm not going to go directly through it, and I might actually spend some time recording it before I release it all at once. In the meantime, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, trying to answer some of the big questions in life by returning to the past. I find that this channel and my Substack now, wyattgraham.com, has sort of become my sort of existential thought process. How do I answer a big question? And then I return to the past to think through it. And as I'm realizing, this is kind of the way that we probably should live life in light of what tradition is. So I'm hoping to maybe allow you some insight into what I'm working through and then invite you to think with me and to share your thoughts. So anyway, this is it for today, and I'll see you next time.